Hello guys, welcome to this episode in this series of GitLab. We're going to be discussing about GitLab variables. So let's begin. So if we go back to the previous repository that we created, that we've just been playing with, which is this really. Let's now discuss in details. So let's start with variables. So what is variables are things that you define in GitLab so that it can essentially use it later down the line, just like in programming or any other thing you can think of. Variables are just declare, and it has like key value pair that you can use. There are different kinds really in GitLab. So let's talk about them. The first one you discover in GitLab is what we call as predefined variables. This is a variable that is automatically set by GitLab. These variables are already created by GitLab, and then GitLab will just review them. Once you mention this specific name for them, GitLab will just give you the value automatically. Second one is the one that is called as custom defined variables. These are just user defined variables in GitLab. You just go to once you are in this your GitLab CI YAML, just define them, and then GitLab will pick them up, define, and give you the value. The other one is what we call as secret variables. Well, this is still variable, but these are like sensitive information that is marked as masked and protected as well. Sometimes there might be some sensitive things like tokens and like some passwords that you need to you don't want to reveal on your job, so you can just mask them. That's other set of variable. And then again, there is what we call in GitLab as group level variables, which is a variable you define in the group where the repository lives. For instance, in our own case, these are pipe basics actually lives inside Galaxy, so you can just go to Galaxy and just define it there and then share it across. It will just cascade or like trickle down the repositories that are within, so you can have group or subgroup variables. Again, there is something else we call as file-based variables. This one is just stored, like an example is if you have a file like an SSH file, you can then go and store this within the GitLab account itself and then just reference it directly. Let's just dive in and see a few of them in action really. So the first one is what we call as predefined variables. The predefined variables are just essentially GitLab, as we said, GitLab already done them, so you can just go and Google them, but let's just dive into, let's create like a stage here. I'm just going to call this stage like maybe like just call this something like hello stage, just so we can see something. So in this stage, I'll just say here hello. Probably just let's follow our convention, so I'll say hello, and then here I'll just go stage hello, and then the next one is script. Within the scripts, I want to echo something. So what am I missing out here? Because there needs to be a space, so this hello corresponds to this one. All right, so in this stage here, the group defined variable, I don't want to echo hello world. What I want to echo is like a predefined variable, so just use $, and then here the plugin that I have will reveal some group defined variables automatically available for you from GitLab really. You don't have to do anything to merit seeing some of these things. You can see commit tags, so you can actually just print a lot number of them out if you really want to see them, but it's really easy. These are things that are already made. So this is commit description. So if you describe this, commit description is when you want to check in a code, that description you put there will just come out. There are like a number of them really. GitLab actively maintain these things, so always just go and find out. And for me, the way I find them is just because I have this plugin, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But you can always like go and review these things based on different versions of GitLab. Each time they deprecate some, take it out, and this is a default branch, different things here. You can see deploy freeze, different deploy user, environment action, environment name, slug, URL, different things. There are a number of them really. You don't want to really go. So here's the job status as an example. So we're going to see just these three, but if you want to do what I have done, you can just go to extension and install GitLab. Let me show you. So I have GitLab here. So if you install this GitLab, this will just reveal some of these things if you're using VS Code. Otherwise, you can just go online and just Google these things out. So let's go and check in this code, and you can see what this is made of. So let's do git status, and then we do git add, press an enter, git commit. So here, let's put a special commit message. So let's say this is a commit message. This is a commit message for checking in the work on predefined variables, because we're going to print this out actually anyway. So let's do git push origin main. I'm just going to push this one. There you go. So now that this is pushed, I'm going to just pull up a repo here, so you can see here is the group, as I was saying before. But anyway, just don't pay attention to that. Let's go in here. Let's go to this job is running, and it's running fast actually. So you can see we've got 3, but this on this hello here, let's have a look and see what's going to print out. Here it says actually, just bear me 1 second. Yeah, so as we're saying, this is, if you come here, you can see that this CI job status is the status has echoed out here saying it's running, because as at the time it was printing this out, it was still running. Some of them are quite sensitive that they would actually be masked. They wouldn't actually show you that on them on your log here. It depends on what is actually set up. But yeah, as you can see, this one, the CI description is not coming through. This is not coming through. The other thing you can do apart from that using this plugin is to go and check. So let me just take you online, and then you can say GitLab variables. I say GitLab predefined variables. Just press an enter, and then you can actually just go to the documentation and see what is still latest, because I believe this one will still be more active. So let's zoom this out a little bit. So this is chat channel, chat input. So these are all of those things that my thing was showing you. So you can see this is CI commit. These ones will also tell you the versions of GitLab that is still available with it. So this one, it says not yet released. So if you're using this one, if you really want to, like I was saying, you can just switch to like the one that is recently released. This is the most recently released variables here now. So for instance, you can just see commit author, and this will tell you the author of this commit in the name and email format. That's what this is telling you. It doesn't tell you anything else. So let's go and look for that one and see how we can. So if we go here, let's take out these ones. Probably they're just old ones, so but always just review them. So let's check in again and see what's going to happen. So we're just going to do git add, and we do git commit. I'll just commit with that name, and I'll do git push. Oh, sorry, git push origin name. Press and enter, and then we go to it. Let's get back into this thing again. Let's go back here, and I'm going to I'm not going to go to the job. I'm going to go over here and just go to, yeah, this is pipeline. I can just grab it from here, and I'll just go into this. So let's see what if it is like going to be available for us. There you go. So this is now ran through, and you can see that commit author, you are allowed to actually see it in plain text. You see, this is Edwin, this is setlimited@gmail.com, and then job status here says is running. So that these are just predefined variables. These variables can be used at global level or like local level here. You don't have to do anything special to actually use them. Well, so that's what it is. We normally just use some of these when we're building, and probably just need to find out the about the pipeline and things like that. So you just find them. So let's go to the second one. The second one is what we call as user-defined variables. So these user-defined variables can be in two folds. The first one can be like global here. So you type variable here, and if you type variables and do that way and just go within this place, now anything you define, like for instance this, actually sticks. So when you come to this, and you can actually just do this interpolation, but let's leave this for a time being. So, and the convention here is that people define this with all uppercase, and where you're, as if to say you're creating constants in programming language. Say for instance here I want to define that probably, let's say, my company name. So let's say CY name here. This is user defined, actually just say uppercase, so CY name here. It's going to be an idea like that. So you can create this like this. And also, if you want, you can also just like do a string quote on these things now. This is globally defined variable. You can also have like locally defined variable. So this variable is globally defined because it's going to be available within this job and any of the jobs within this here. So for instance, I can actually just go here and say, here I can just print this out and just say, I'm going to take this company name, just print here and print it out. We can also go here and print it out as well because it's going to be, it's available because it's declared within the outside scope of any of the jobs. Well, there's also local variables as well. You can go here and just type the word variable. If you type variables here and the same goes here, you can also do that. Well, so let's say for instance here, I'm going to have something here called as, let's say something like COY, and I'll say ID here, and I can say the ID for this one is going to be, let's say ID is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So here is the company ID for me, and this is the company name. You can see this, just you can also quote it if you want to anyway. So let's quote it so that it will be consistent. So the thing is, as you can see now, this is locally defined variable. It's now available just within this place, within this job. Now if I say, if I want to use this, access this variable from here, it wouldn't be available. This job would fail completely. So if I just do something like this, it would fail woefully. So this is not available. I'll just cancel this out. Well, again, you can also override. You can see this name is defined here. I can now override because it's defined globally. When I come here, I can just override it by defining and just putting something else. Maybe the name now changed. I can just do that. So that's the other thing. Let's comment this out and just print so you can kind of see what we got. So these are like this one, and then these ones are what we call as locally defined. Sorry, this is locally defined variable, but these are user defined variable, which has both global and local variables. Okay, so let's run this and you can see how it's happening. So I'm just going to do again git add, and I think I'll chain everything together. So I'll just say, okay, let's just do that. Git add, git commit. I'll just use the same commit message. Now say git push origin main, press and enter, and let's see what is going on. So let's now go to our profile here, see what's going on. I'm just going to go to the pipeline and have a look what is going on. So I'm just going to get into this one, and I'm going to get into here and see what is going on. It takes a minute. Right, so it takes a minute. It took a minute, but it's done now. So you can see here is that company name, and it's just printed out this, as you can see. And if I also switch to the second job here, so let's go to the next job, you see that that company name would also be accessed from here as well. Let's get into this one. This one takes a minute again, but you can see now that it will be available. Again, here we just did the company ID. We didn't actually print it out. So if you want, you can also access local variable here as well. Also, you can interpolate this as well if you want to. This is just a shell command, really. So let's do this way. I'm just going to select only this one, and I'm going to do that. So if you want to do that, you can also add other things, but this is essentially just, well, because it's just one thing, I'm not going to do interpolation here. So I'll just do git add, and then git commit, and then git press and enter, and then I'll do git push, and there you go. So if I push this, let's get back onto the repo and see what's going on. So for the second job that was running, we also accessed, this is the second job, which was called build job. The other one was hello world. You can kind of see that that variable that we declare globally is also accessible from here. as we saw from this code. So it was declared here, it was accessed initially from here, and also it was accessed from here as well. And then also now we want to see that local variable is able to access. And we say that if we access this local variable from a different job where it doesn't have permission, the job would fall through completely. So let's go back in and see the second one in action. So let's go back, let's go to the pipeline, and let's see that local variables is now being printed off. So there you go. This is company ID. This is now printed out, and thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next one. The next one is what we call as, let's say we CI define variables. So let's get back to the project. So if we're on this project now, and I just go to the account, there are some times that you don't want to declare variables here, just like this. This is plain text, and the value here might be sensitive. In that sense, GitLab gives you option to actually like store and hide these variables, and you can just do so. You don't need to define it here. You just inject it, define it within the GitLab itself. So and what you do for that is just let's go and define that so you can see. So in that one, we get into the repository and just get into the settings. You've got to be an admin to that repository to be able to see these settings. When you go there, go to CICD. When you get into CICD here, you see something called variables, so you can define things here as well. So let's say something like password. So this is going to be variables. And let me just sort of remind you again, we did talk about simple variable, key value. We also talked about file variable like SSH. You can like store things here. So let's start with simple one. So here, this is going to say default is going to be available on default, and it's going to be visible. So this one is kind of that same one. It's going to be visible on the job. And then this one, this is protected for now. Just like strip this ones out. I can just leave this one. Description, just give a description for this variable. So let's say something like this is the password, or let's say this is database password here. And then here, let's say the password is going to be something like creepy. Let's say today, and I'll say 1, 2, 3. So here is the password for this that we want to use for that. So this is the key. The key will be the name you want to give. So we might say DB password here. Usually, as we said, in variables, GitLab standard is that you just do things in uppercase. It doesn't really matter. So we'll put the value. This is the real value here. We just save. Once you've done this, this is now saved. If you go within the job, this variable will now be accessible. So let's get into the code. If we come to the code, it doesn't matter. So now it has taken place of this global variable. Now we can access it from anywhere. So we can just go here again and just say this is echo, and then just go echo here, and then just go to this, and then we can remember the name we gave it. So we call it DB password. Just remember whatever you're giving it. That obviously, as we said, you don't need to redefine this here. GitLab would automatically pick it up just like it did with its own predefined variables. So let's check in this code and see how it's going. So let's do git add again, and then git commit, and then git push, and then let's see. So this thing is now checked in, and let's see when the job runs. So let's open up the account, and let's go to the pipeline, and then let's go to the code that is running, and then let's get down into this job. Okay, so the job has come through now. So you can see this is now the password, DB password is now printed up. The value has come through. So now we've seen that you can kind of define things here. Let's now go a little bit further and now see how these things are really masked. So let's talk about masked variables now. So let's get back into this thing, and then let's get back into the variables, and then we'll say, so some of this now, when they run, you don't want them to be seen on the job as an example. So what I'll do is, let's say this password, let's change it to masked variable. So here it is. And what we're going to do is to check this option. So this one made it visible. When you mask a variable within this vault here, kind of. The mask in the job log, but the value can be revealed in CICD settings. So if you check this option here, what you will see on the job when the job runs is something like this. You just do ... and that's what you get. Also, there's something else I wanted to talk about, these protected variables. You can also be masked and protected. So when it's protected, it is, those variables are exported to the pipeline running on a protected branch. So you can do that, but you need to make sure that any branch it will be exported to will be a protected branch. Those branches are things like main branch, like some probably like a user protected variables. We can also do that. So I wanted to talk about that. So if it's protected, it's only available within those branches. Let's actually save. Let's see what it means to have a branch to be protected. So if we go back into the code and then go, I think you need to go to the settings to see that. So let's go back here. Let's go to a branch settings again, and then let's start with the general and see where this things are, because GitLab keep moving things around. So let's go and see advanced. Let me see. Okay, I don't think it's here. Let's see. They're just moving these things around, but let's go to the repo and see what's in there. Yeah, there you go. So this is default branch is called main, and I think this is where it would be. Yeah, there you go. This is protected branch. So here is the default branch. You can also add a branch here and say that that branch is also protected. Just as you can see, this is the main one that is already done. Allow to force push and things. These are where you define rules, but you can kind of see that this main is part of the protected branch. Organization as well can actually by themselves, create something else that they want a branch to be, that they want branch to be protected, add their own branch or do things. They can do that. So but I'll cancel this for now. You can add your own protected branches. Basically is what I'm trying to say. This is protected tags. Some tags are protected. You can add a tag. If you add a tag, you give it a tag name and just add it into this place. So let's go. No result is actually found. If you've created a tag, it will automatically come here. If you also created, if you really want to add another one, you can make a branch and just do that. But for now, we're working on the main. So let's check in that, and then let's see. Let's do git. Okay, I think we pushed up the changes we made locally. Let's have a look again. So here, this is the same password, we pushed it up, but now we made it protected, so there's nothing to check. Now that you've seen protected branches, actually, let's go back and rerun the job. So nothing changed, just rerun this job. So we're going to go in here manually, just re-trigger the job again. So let's go to the pipeline build, pipeline here, and then we just rerun the job. So we just run a new one, and then it's a main branch. Obviously, that's the only thing that we've got. We haven't even got any tag. So that's the main branch. There's no other key. We'll talk about this, but this is also like the way to also define key value variables as well. You can define that. You can also define files. If this is like an emergency thing, you can just impute this at the runtime. So we'll just do that. So when we click this now, the job will begin to run. But what we'll notice is that this variable that we define here called EchoDB password would actually just echo out as we actually said. So let's wait for it to come through. Okay, so it has come through now. So you can see that here DB password is now masked. As we say, you aren't gonna see the value, but if you use it, if you were to use it on a job to do something, that value would pass through. But for actually seeing it on the log here, it isn't going to be available. So let's create and show you how to create a protected branch anyway. So I'll just do git checkout minus branch and just create a branch. Let's call this branch something like P for protected, and then just let's say protect or pro. Let's say prod. Okay, so just give it like this cool name. So this is a branch now. Let's make some changes or something just for the sake of it, really, but we're not running any of those things. So let's make a change, for instance, so at least we can see what we can, how to push up that. I'm going to like paste this one here and run and actually check in the code. So this check-in would go to a branch, and this branch git status here, git commit here. Just use the same commit message, and I'll push it to the its own parent, which is going to call prod. Sorry. So this prod will create itself. So from local one to the origin one. So let's go and see. When we go here now, it will see that this thing would crash out. This wouldn't actually just come through, because by default now this branch that we call prod hasn't actually been protected. So let's get in and see this branch anyway for the time being. So here are now two branches. This is the one that is running. If we now go back onto the, okay, well, let's wait for this to run so we can see what is going on. This is like 2 minutes ago. I'm going to but this one ran from the main, so let's go back and pick the right one. So this is the one that is running. If we now go into the hello, there you go. So you see that this thing didn't really come through because it didn't even mask, because it wasn't exported. So the value would be like an empty text string, just like empty string field that is not, there's nothing there, nothing would be exported, and your job will just run through and just keep that. So if you are actually using that, referencing that value for something else, no value will be passed to you until you go back now manually now and then make this branch protected branch. So let's go into the thing here, which is repo, and then get into the repo and just go to protected branches and then just add it here as part of the protected branches. So there you go. Prod will pick it up, and then you can define whatever you want for the rules for that. If you just want only the maintainer or no one, or dev, like gonna give it like custom permissions and things you want. If you want people to force things through, just do that. Just check this one like that. People can now force their way through, but you can protect it now. This way now, this branch is now protected as well. If you rerun the job, if you rerun this job now that these two things are now protected, the same job, nothing changed. If you just rerun it now, it would now be able to export those values for you. So let's go and rerun this quickly. So go to the view, go to pipeline, and just rerun this. So just going to create a new pipeline and just going to run this, and then we wait for it to be ready. There you go. So it's running. I'm going to wait for this to be ready. Yes, come through now, so you can see that this now is now getting exported. Thank you. And then the last one is file-based variables. These file-based variables are like, as we said at the beginning, it's like an SSH variable that if you create like a huge file, so you can, so let's say for instance, let's go online. I'm not going to use this SSH key for anything, but I'm going to say, let's say SSH key generation here. So if I generate this online and just grab any SSH key, really don't really mind. So I'll just generate this now. This is going to generate a key. So if you have a file like something big like this, you can kind of store this like with a file. So if you go back in here, all you really need to do is to go back in the settings as an admin anyway again. So if you go to CICD, and you can just put it there as well. If we go to let's go to the variables again. Here it is. So you just add and then go here. This is going to be file, and you can actually just point it to a file. Just do know that, I don't know if I talked about this already, but this is like environment variable. So if you do this, it will just be, if you create some environment, it will be picked up here, but this is specific to each environment. It's kind of that local variable that we talked about. So as an example here, so if we go to this one, description, this is private SSH private key. So let's say SSH private key. This is description anyway, the key value as well. This is SSH. You can just use the same SSH private key as an example, private key, and then you just go to the value. You can paste this here if you want to. Then this one is it was pointed into a file here, and then we'll paste this in and just click on that, and this is now added. So when you go to your job, you can pretty much like access that into your code and just make use of it. So what I'll do is to probably just echo this out if you want to see. So, but it would come out here as well. So let's go here. All I really need to do is to do that echo. So let's change this now. So what I will say is I will say whatever we called it there, just SSH, I think private key, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the key here. So this private key, it would echo this out on a job, even though you stored it as a file-based variable. So let's do git add, and then git commit, and then git push, git push origin. Oh, this is, we're now in a branch anyway, so but that's fine, that branch is protected, so I think it should be able to run. The idea of protecting those branches are just to make sure that anybody accessing those sensitive variables are actually allowed to. It's just like a security layer on top of what is already there. So let's go to build pipeline. Let's have a look and see what is running. So here, hopefully this would really come through. All right, so it's finished. So you can see now, so this now points to where it is. It says it will generate just based on your, this just a build Galaxy, based on your project and things. You create a temporary file and then put that SSH key here. So this is now the file. So if it is like maybe like a Terraform that is looking for a file path, this would suffice. But you can also like do cat, so you can see the content of the file if you really want to see. But this file path will be injected into the job. So that's about variables really. These are the, just quickly, just to recap again, there are key variables that things that we use on GitLab. The first one is like predefined variables, custom variables which are user defined, and then you have secret variable where sensitive informations are marked as either masked or like protected or both. So you can do both together. And then you have group level. Okay, let's talk about group level variables actually. So I don't think we saw that. So in this job, we've got one group here. This group is called Galaxy. You can actually just come to this group, go to its settings and set up a variable there. So if I go to, actually, I'll go to CICD for the group. So here is the group. You can see it has only few things here. So let's go to this one. You can see there's no variable set up here. Any variable you set up here would be cascaded to, if it has thousands of repositories within this group, it will be cascaded down to them. So here, let's say variables, visible ones. These are just, let's create simple thing. So for instance, here I can just say Docker user. Obviously that's not a good description, but it is what I need. The key is going to be the same. Let's say the user here is, let's say this is Docker user 123. That's probably just the user name. I'll say Docker. Okay, let's say the username will be doc123, for instance, like that. Or let's say Docker user, so we know we're talking about user, right? So we save this. This is now saved. This variable would be, as you can see, it says successfully saved. This variable is within the group here, and this would then be cascaded if you have like many repositories here. For instance, in this one, we can just access this directly without actually doing any extra configuration. So this will be like when we come to this job, whatever we call that thing there, if we remember, I think we said this Docker user thing. Let's do, this is Docker. Let's find out what I named it. I think I forgot. So if I go back, go to the group level, and then go to the settings, CICD, and just find out here on the variables. And then here we can get this one. So let's put it there. You would actually see it within the job. So let's go put it in. And then if we run this job, it would actually appear. So let's do that. Just to git status, just to make sure it's there. Git add, and then git commit. So git commit, press and enter, and then git push origin prop. Press and enter, and this is going through. So let's go back to the job on the thing. So if I come here, I'll just go to the build. So let's go to build. Oh, sorry, I'll go to, where is it again? Oh, we're still on group. Okay, so just going to go down to the pipeline that would actually just run the job that is referencing this. So just go to this pipeline, then I'll go to build pipeline, and I will just have a look what is happening. So this is happening. This thing has gone green. And there you go. So you see, this is from the parents, which is Galaxy group, and then it's cascaded down to this pipeline. All we had to do was just to really reference it really within our code. We didn't have to do anything. So guys, these are just what the kinds of variables we've got in a GitLab. It's really important for you to like know them, because this is key. You're going to be using them once you start using GitLab. Thank you so much. Thank you.